This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.
Oh, man. Do we have him? Do we have the man, Craig Bromell himself?
What's going on?
How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. This doesn't sound like you're doing well. What's happening?
No, I'm actually great. I'm actually really good. I'm just, I like to vent. Okay, listen, you were a radio guy for a long time. You did radio. You got a couple hours to fill every day. Sometimes you just you go on rants. You don't even necessarily mean them, but you kill some time,
You know what? I always said after I did that, everybody should have their own talk radio show for a half hour of their life. You just get to tell everybody to off and then hang up on them too if you want. I mean, it was great. It did a lot of therapy for me, Todd. I can tell you right now.
Well, why don't you still do it?
I get asked a lot, right? I get asked to get back involved in it. And I just, it's just time. I got 3 or 4 companies on the go. So I loved it. But I got to tell you something. I did it for 3 years. I was with a great crew back then and surrounded by guys like you, for who we were working with. And it was just a great 3 years. The people in the industry were amazing. The staff, and it was just all around. It was probably one of the best 3 years of my life. I really mean it. I got involved in television and everything else, which is a whole different animal. Don't get involved in television or movies. But, at the same time, it was phenomenal. I loved it. But I was surrounded by really good people in the industry. The industry has great people.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the neat thing about radio. It's sort of immediate, right? So you get that immediate rush, you do the show, and then you just you don't have time to really think about it over. You just kind of focus on the next one tomorrow. And I can understand doing some small things within television and investing in a film or two here and there. It's just a process and a lot of corporate stuff. And, it just takes forever. And is that sort of what you mean by the difference?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm still involved. In radio, it was a team effort, and everybody seemed to have everybody's back most of the time. In film and television, there's a term in policing called brown bagging. And there's a lot of people in the film industry I wanted a brown bag. Bottom line, you put the brown paper bag over their head and kick them so the blood doesn't get on you. Are you there?
Dude, that's okay. I love it, man, Brett.
I'm giving state secrets away now, but there's a lot of people I wanted to brown bag.
Oh, dude, that's the favorite clip I've ever heard on radio. Thank you for that, Craig. I needed that. The brown bag. All right. Yeah, not the plastic bag, because then they'd know it's you. You don't want that bag.
They're also going to suffocate.
Yeah, of course. We don't want them to die. Just to remember the beating.
Just remember for the next time. There's always a bigger picture, Todd.
Oh, good. Well, it's a lesson to be taught. Hey, here's a quick question for you. An interesting segue away from kind of 360 Secure. We'll talk about that in a moment. This sort of stuff going on we're seeing right now with hockey and the NHL and Crawford kicked a guy and this and that. What's your honest take on this, Craig Bromell, about this unwritten code, and are guys breaking it, and they breaking it? Are they being a bit whiny, or is it well deserved?
Well, it's interesting. I've always questioned when things happen after somebody retires or leaves the job. Right? And then people get very brave all of a sudden. So,
yeah,
that's what's happening here. I'm not hearing really too many active players saying this. In fact, I haven't heard anybody saying about anybody. So, listen, the world's changing. Whether we're all becoming pacifists or not, or it's just what the old school has changed. But I think what's next is the other sports. I think hockey. I heard football is just bad, right, for coaching and players. So I think it's more than just hockey. I had 2 boys that played serious hockey growing up, and like AA stuff and all that. So I never came across anything at that level. The coaches that my guys had all the time were just phenomenal, like good people you would want your sons to spend a few hours with every week through the hockey program. And I never saw that. So I can't really judge, and I didn't play hockey myself at that level. So I think that I don't know. It's different. It's going to change. You're going to sign a contract as a new coach, and it's going to be a line in there. We're going to let you go over here if anything like this while you're coaching. And listen, some of the players deserve it. Like the latest one, Sean Avery. I mean, there's a lot of guys who wanted to kick him in the ass while he was playing. So, you know what? And then to come out, my only question is on this, and this is many things in life, to come out years later, and then it becomes a big story. I don't know. You know, if there's an issue at the time, make it an issue at the time. Don't wait for years down the road. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the other sports now. If it's going to take on a life in football or basketball or baseball, you know, like the Billy Martin years, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's the end of it. I think there is going to be new, you know, code of conducts coming out of sports because of this for coaches.
Yeah, and listen, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there. And for me, the dominoes will fall to other sports, and we're going to hear a lot of other stories. And I'm even taking it a step further. I think at some point, a coach who's going to be affected is just going to come right out and say, okay, yeah, I was so bad for kicking in this guy. Well, by the way, this is what happened with some of my teammates. This is what some of these 25-year-olds were saying and doing and partying and women and drug, you know, like you want to expose this, I'll expose it for what it was. Like, will it ever get to that? Because let's be honest, these aren't perfect role models here. Yeah,
there are, being involved in the security business, I've been involved in helping out pro athletes through the security process. A coach is going to come out, start talking about the players. I mean, it is, you make a great point there. They're not all that innocent. And it's not all charity. And somebody's going to come out and say, okay, you know, you want to play this way? Let's start talking about some of the players and what's happened in the dressing rooms and on road trips and all that. That could start something here.
And maybe, you know, I think I'm more mentally tough than I am, Craig. So, you know, not to sort of discredit what people do go through, but you know, part of me thinks, maybe I'm just saying this, but part of me thinks that, you know, if I was getting paid, you know, 18, 25 million for, you know, 6-7 years of a career even, and, you know, the odd time a coach gave me a kick on the back, I'm like, you know, I could probably handle that, I feel. And you know, only because, God forbid, you know, there's probably other trades and guys really busting their balls for $20 an hour that have you know, someone who's their boss or superior just as kind of tough on them as well, and yet, you know, they don't have savings, they don't have a glorious rock star lifestyle.
No, they don't. And what I don't like, because I think a lot of it's phony, is the political correctness of society now. I don't know this. I got a feeling this is what something like this is. If somebody looks at it, are we being too politically correct now? You know, for every time a coach yelled at a hockey player, kicked him in the ass. Don't forget, we're talking about a sport. You can take a hockey stick to somebody's head, and you're not going to face criminal charges if it's on the ice. So there's a lot of leeway here. So, you know, what happens on the bench is nothing compared to what happens during the hockey game. And there's a lot of times players should have faced criminal charges, and it just didn't happen. So that's the sport it is. But are we just being too politically correct here right now? And sometimes
we are. I mean, listen, I think we are. And you that's another thing I never thought about. During those 60 minutes of actual ice time or playing time, or call it even the 2.5 hours of the get from, you know, start to finish with intermissions and stuff, that there's so much stuff that happens during that time that you're right, could never happen at a bar, could never happen in someone's home. Like, you don't go body check, you know, your brother over Thanksgiving. Like, you just can't do that stuff. So you're right. Are we taking it too far in political correctness towards the coaches saying, hey, you acted a certain way, but yet the rest of this kind of really violent criminal behavior can happen on the ice? Then no, there's got to be some sort of parity there, in my opinion.
Yeah, hockey's a violent sport. You're trying to take somebody's head off with a clean body check, right? That's the way the game is, and there's body contact. It's violent, no matter what the definition is of whether it's intent or not. But there's still violence there, and there's some things going on, you know, within the 200 feet of the ice that, holy mackerel, okay, that's fine. But now the coach is kicking in the ass because you took a dumb penalty. I mean, look at they're not an assistant, a personal assistant, or a male or female secretary in an office somewhere. This is a violent game. So I don't know. There's a lot of political correctness. Makes me sick sometimes.
Well, I mean, do these things? I mean, we passed the point of no return, meaning that the whole new world we live in, Craig, has to be kind of fake because, God forbid, we say the wrong thing. I mean, is this just how it's got to be?
I said it to you before. I'm saying it to a lot of people. A lot of people are calling me about this. Trudeau apologizing for blackface changed everything.
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it.
If an apology is accepted, no matter how bad, and that was pretty bad what he did several times, without getting into it. If that's good enough, then yes, it's just apologize.
Did you see today in NATO with Trudeau and Trump? And Trudeau you saw that?
I got a theory. I think they did that on purpose. I think they knew the cameras are rolling in there. You know why? Because of security. They all know. They've been when a world leader walks into a room like that with other world leaders, Secret Service or some security is going to go and whisper in their ear before they go and say, "Listen, remember, everything's on audio, everything's on video." It's for security reasons. So they knew it was being recorded. I think he did it on purpose to get back.
Trudeau's poking the bear in Trump. Trump then calls Trudeau two-faced. A lot of the memes going around add what you said. They're saying actually Trudeau's three-faced. That's sort of what the joke is.
That's a pretty good one. I wish I had said that. I think he did it on purpose. I think they all did. They're fed up with him, and whether right or wrong, Trump's beliefs. I think they wanted him to leave early. They probably get business done at NATO once he left.
Interesting. And I just thought, is it unwise to, whatever you think of Trump's politics, is it unwise to still kind of piss off the most powerful man in the world? Like, is that the wrong tactic? I don't know. What do you think?
Yes. Do you want to lure yourself to something like Trump? Like Trump, I understand before this happened was going after him in front of the press on NATO and the budget and all that. And, and it was unexpected. If you look at Trudeau's reaction when Trump asked him, he was taken back. He didn't expect it. Like, what are you paying into NATO? Which is not that much, apparently. So I think Trudeau was pissed off at that. And I think he waited for the opportunity. But there's no doubt in my mind, they knew the cameras were rolling in there. I mean, at every function, anything these guys go to, when they're together, it is. They all wanted it recorded. That's why, usually not too much is said and done. But is it smart? Nah, I mean, the big thing is you're lowering yourself to his standard more than anything. But listen, Trudeau screwed up a lot in the last little while. I mean, he won the last election. It's a minority, but he's feeling like a king right now because he was not. I didn't expect him to win last time. I expected another party in power on a minority side of things, but not the Liberals. So he's feeling pretty confident, and I think he did it on purpose. I think he did it to insult Trump.
Yeah, he definitely sort of seemed to have a bit of swagger and cockiness to him, I will say. Within the actual question that Trump asked him about the contributions of our GDP, 1.4% or whatever it is to NATO, I mean, is that like, should Canada be doing more in terms of defense and budgets and things?
Yeah, I mean, here's what happens. You want, military, our budget, the Canadian budget for the military, anything to do with the military is very low compared to other countries overall. And, I think we got two ships. We got a Navy with two boats. So, I mean, it's like, and we got more coastline than anybody else if you include the going all the way around Canada. So it's pretty low, and it should be at 2%, which is kind of low. I think we are at 1.4 on that. But it's when we need help. So everything's, we're peacekeepers. We're more known for that. Although, our military, some sections of our military are the best in the world. Like our snipers for the last 50 years have been the best in the world. There's all kinds of records they've had. We don't talk about it enough. We should. But so a lot of things we do are very good, but we don't have that many of. We don't have that.
Well said.
Doing it. So I think that when this hits the fan, it could be anything with us. We're looking for our friends. So because of that, it's nice that we keep up what we're to spend to help everybody, because obviously over the years we have showed up when our friends need us anywhere in the world. There might be a day when we're going to need our friends more than the Americans. And that's nice why you keep up paying your bills, because if you turn around and you need help, you want to make sure your friends, your loyal, trusted friends are there with you. And that's including any nation out there, because we have shown up, but it's more than us just showing up. we got to keep paying our bills to make the world safer.
Yeah, I think that's, again, I mean, it's almost boring radio because I agree with everything you're saying, but, it is a changing landscape, and sometimes we take that for granted. And back to the political correctness side of things, we forget that it is important, and you never know when things can change and there can be attacks and stuff, and you want to make sure that we're rightly protected and have the right allies in case that there's ever a time of need. And I hate to seem so dire and dim and pessimistic, but this world is not all a land of chocolate and roses the way a lot of this, I'm not just saying it's a liberal thing, but a lot of the social media and stuff makes you want to think it is, because it's still, and you see the worst of it, Craig, it's a dark place.
Listen, our law enforcement, our military, our CSIS, spies, all that are ready, not if, but when we get, say, another terrorist attack. They're trained to react to that for a reason, for a very good reason. But nobody, we're all, our asses are sticking out there because it's hard to fight an invisible enemy. I look at London just last week.
Yep.
I mean, how do you defend it? You don't. I mean, other than intelligence, massive amount of intelligence gathering will help you on that. And so, again, politically correct, a lot of people in the world don't want that. So there's a balancing act there. And I think that, our asses are sticking out. But remember, law enforcement, military are ready to react to that. They're well trained to react because they just feel it's going to happen again. And when it does happen, Prime Minister gets on the phone and looks for as much support around the world because they want to make sure that we can depend on people when we need to get to the bottom of this and make sure that there's no other attacks coming. So you have the first attack, and then you start phoning around to the rest of the world and saying, are you hearing anything out there? Are we vulnerable on another copycat, another attack? And that's what happens here. So it's good to keep everybody close and friendly and all that, including the Americans. And it's just being smart. So if we're supposed to be at 2%, we should be paying 2%.
Craig Bromell is with us, 360 Secure Studios. Let's get a quick company update. How are things going at 360 Secure?
It's going well. Everything's going well. We had a great last quarter. We're up. We're doing a lot again because I truly believe the people that we have working for us. And so it's good. But I talk about it a lot with you. It's the industry is just the cannabis industry on a business side is just not doing well. I mean, just pick up any newspaper, and we're trying to counter that. We're trying to help that out. We got some ideas and plans we're working on now to make it so that the illegal side of this industry is, somebody's got to tackle it. We feel we have to. And we're getting great leeway on that. We're looking for partners in the insurance industry, financial industry, to assist us on that, because those are the people that are being affected. Investors, massive investors. So we have a plan. There's not much I can talk on the radio about because, everything's pretty secret of what we're trying to do here. But we're working on it. We want to take the lead on it, and we have a good team for that. So we're looking to go, and what we're doing is to assist everybody, whether you invest or any other licensed producers out in the cannabis industry. We really want to assist them. So the better they do, the better 360 does. So we're hoping to take this on head first and then try to get some great results.
Well, look forward to it. And of course, protecting and, is what you do. You guys keep things safe. Keeping investors' money safe is always nice to hear as well. And yeah, it's been a tough rollout in the black market. As you always say, 80% of what still exists out there. Unfair to every cannabis company and even the ancillary companies such as yourself. But the good news is Craig Bromell does not let things go. He's a man on a mission, and we like having you by our side. We appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks, Todd. Have a great show.
Okay, cheers. Craig Bromell, everyone, from 360 Secure, 360secure.com. And that's, by the way, number 360 SIXTY, 360secure.com.
This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.